And welcome back. In today's video, we are flying out the P-38L Lightning. This plane sits at 4.7 in the American and Chinese military branches. Similar to the 4B Corsair, I only started flying this thing out very recently, and have been really enjoying my time in it. I don't have any major problems with this plane. For being a twin-engine boomer, the Lightning handles pretty well, and it also has a couple of mods from the earlier P-38s that make it even better, such as boosted control surfaces and air brakes. Although it isn't the best idea to dogfight with the P-38, in an isolated situation, the Lightning actually becomes a strong dueling plane and can easily hold its own with German fighters and even some Russian fighters with proper energy management, as you saw with the Yak-9 in the first clip. The reason for this is because of the P-38's flaps, which are some of the best in the game. They increase your turning rate by approximately 65%, which is more than 1.5 times the average. Sometimes this can also catch people off guard when you're in a dogfight, allowing you to get the first shot. As on how I play the P-38, I generally climb about 16 or 17 degrees until I reach 5 kilometers, and I then shallow out to 5 degrees or 10 degrees to get to the action faster. You are going to be above pretty much everyone in the game, so slightly rushing your climb can help you catch their team off guard. This plane is a great boom and zoom energy fighter and shouldn't be flown in multiple versus one situations unless you have the energy advantage. Going back to the strengths and weaknesses of this plane, one of the main gripes I have is with the trouble aiming. The guns are great, but combined with the P-38's handling and the fact that they are nose mounted can create some awkwardness, which is expected with most twin engine fighters. The P-38 also has a very odd feeling rudder at most speeds, which makes it even harder. This plane, being a twin boomer, relies on predicting your enemy's dodges. In today's match, I have 2 6-kill games and a 5-kill game, as well as a short 1v1 with the P-51K. Starting off, we have a really quick reversal with a J-26 who overcommitted on me. Starting off, we have a Focke-Wulf 190A8 who is way too slow to dodge. I turn him into a torpedo, and then I move towards the P-51K. You can tell it's a P-51K by seeing the Chinese symbol to the left of the P-51. The Chinese army, the Chinese tech tree only has either the D-20 or the P-51K in their tech tree. So the P-51 split S's, but I get a pretty good shot on him here. He fails to dodge, and so now he's going to get a first shot, so I wait until his tracer fire appears, I dodge, and then I keep going up because I do have a bit more energy starting off. And since he's damaged, since he has less energy, he dives away. Even though he is a P-51K, I am going to be able to catch him just because of how much more altitude I have over him. And he's going to realize this very soon. I have to slow down a bit. He's going to try and pull straight back up. But all I have to do is just maintain my speed, keep going up, and he is not going to be able to get anywhere near a shot now because he lost so much altitude, and that was his main mistake, diving too far down. So now he's slow, he's low, he doesn't have any height to work with, so he just has to resort to a flat turn. This allows me to dive down, and before I can press, get a pretty nice shot and take his plane apart. So moving on, we have a 6-kill game on a desert map, and this is a prime example of what happens when you can just rush in and clear the enemy team of enemy's fighters. So we start off by diving on a 109 who is oblivious to me, take his wing off, and set his engine on fire, and we climb back up. I'm going to have plenty of energy after this climb to engage the 109s at higher altitude. The 109 that went for the bomber is completely oblivious to me. I don't know why, but he gave me a very easy shot, and I take his left wing off, and now I can dive on the 190 or the IL-8 who is bitching up for me. Right now I want the 190 dead because he's going to be a bigger problem than the IL-8 in the long run. He's also not paying attention to me. I don't know what it was with this game, but a lot of people were just caught not paying attention, and I got a lot of free kills because of that. Now I'm just chasing down this IL-8. He's too slow to dodge. He's in a fat plane. He's not going to be doing much. The last bullet hits, and luckily it sets his plane on fire and kills his pilot. And now I can turn back into the 109 So I pull above his guns, and if he follows me up here, he will stall out in my guns, and it will be an easy kill. But he makes a flat turn, and instead I loop back down to be able to get the first shot on him. I shoot, set a fire. Unfortunately, that kill ends up getting stolen, so instead of getting 7 this game, I got 6. Fast forwarding just a bit here, you can see me diving on a DO 335 as well as an IL-8. Just kind of taking some pot shots at long range, and the DO 335 turns, and I can't pull enough lead because I'm going too fast. So all I have to do, since I have enough energy, is go up. And none of these guys are going to be able to defend. The DO 335 goes down, I switch over to the IL-8, and I take his wingtip off as well. Moving on, we have a 5-kill ace carry on, I don't know which map this is actually, I think it's, no. But we start off anyway by shooting a T-18, taking his left wing off, and then continuing towards the rest of the fighters. So, I find myself above pretty much everyone on the enemy team, and right now I'm just picking a target, and I go for the Spitfire that is presenting himself the most, as well as he's the highest. He's just a bit too slow to dodge. Bit of a floppy rudder action there, as you can see. It's hard to aim, but I end up taking his wingtip off, and since there's other enemies around in the area, I'm not going to be able to confirm my kill, and he goes to RTB. So now I'm just climbing away, distancing myself from any other enemies that will potentially go for me. And I'm just kind of like looking for a prime target. And to me, Spitfires are prime targets because they're pretty annoying to deal with. They turn well, they climb well, and yeah, they're just annoying. Trying to predict, I just miss, only hit his right wingtip. Now I climb back up again. And the A6M3 is going to be even more of a nuisance to deal with. However, he just kind of keeps diving down because of the XP50. The Spitfire is going for me, but is oblivious to the XP50. And so that allows him to get a pretty quick shot. However, he ends up missing. And now my job right now is just to keep pushing the enemies down until they run out of altitude. The AC-9 is not the biggest threat right now since he is going away from me, and he also has 2 people on him. So I'm pretty free to just dive down, keep engaging these guys, keep pushing these guys down, pressure them. Spitfire appears above me, but however he is 7 kilometers away, and I have multiple fighters below me. So I'm going to keep diving down. The P-63 rolls under, and I'm not going to be able to hit that, so I pull off. Also, this plane does have a pretty quick rip speed. You have to be careful of that. Although you do have an air brake, sometimes it doesn't provide enough drag quick enough, and you rip. Luckily, I haven't ripped yet in this plane. So looping back over, I switch back over to the P-63. He's damaged. He's not flying too well, and I finish him off. Now I'm just diving towards the P-51. He's also damaged. Just gonna clean him up here. He's way too slow. I get a pretty easy shot. Almost ran my teammate with the XP-50. He's burning anyway. He probably wouldn't have survived. But now I have to go towards my friend in the Corsair, who has 3 enemies on him. 2 Spitfires, as well as an A6M3. Just before I go and kill the group of 3 enemies down below me, I want to kill the Spitfire up at altitude, because if I dive down, he's going to get my 6 easily, and that's just not a good idea. He's a bit too slow to dodge. I get a crit. I can't pull enough lead for another shot, but at this point, he's already so damaged that I can just kind of drop my landing flaps, pitch back into him, and then just start turning with him. However, he dives away because he's so damaged. Now I'm just kind of spraying with my 50 cals. You have plenty of ammo in the P-38 to do this. 500 rounds per gun. I get a couple of hits, and then he flies back into my gun sights, and I take his left wing off. The A673 goes down in the background, and now there's only a C-fire left to deal with. So I go head on. As you can see, my rudder's not really adjusting to where I wanted it to go, so I end up missing to the left, but all I have to do is just keep looping back up. The Spitfire will have nowhere near enough energy to pitch up for this. Also, if he pitches up, he will get baited. And the Spitfire that I crit earlier in the game returns from RTBing, and is not going to be a very big problem. So I want to take the Spitfire out very quick and then exit the fight. So I get a crit, and even though I didn't kill him, I'm still going to leave, as I definitely want some speed and altitude. So I exit away from the Spitfire towards the towards the G55. I definitely want to gain some separation from this guy, because Spitfires definitely trump me in a dogfight. The Spitfire will eventually succumb to his injuries, but I kind of left my teammate in the 109 out to dry here. However, he didn't see the Spitfire anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But right now, I have distance, a bit of altitude, but he is going to be catching me if I don't straighten out. And at this point, I'm just saying, F it, we ball, and I go and try to dogfight a Spitfire. And you'll see in a second that it's not a Mark 9, it's a Mark 5C. Try and pitch it for the head-on, just miss. But now I go vertical. I have a bit more speed entering this fight, so I'm going to be able to loop up and then up again. Right now I'm not using my flaps because I want to maintain as much speed as possible. Now I drop my landing flaps. Spiral above him. Turn a bit left just to get out of his guns for the stall shot. And since these flaps are so crazy, I can kind of keep going up above the Spitfire. Rudder flip over. And unfortunately at these speeds, the P-38 just doesn't have enough elevator authority or the rudder authority to get that shot. And at this point, our energies are pretty much equalized. And if I don't bail out of this fight soon, I will end up dying. So I dodge the Spitfire's guns there. I keep going up. I flip back over. And you can see the top of my loop is now the top of his loop. Our energies have equalized, and now it's time to ditch the fight. So I turn to the right as he's turning to the right as well. To maximize separation, I raise my flaps and I run. Fast forwarding just a bit here, I am now at 4,000 meters, and this is where my plane starts performing just a bit better at this altitude. Mark 5's Spitfires aren't usually the best. And now, since I have enough speed, I'm going to attempt to dogfight him again at higher altitude to where my engine power is slightly better than his. So I go head on. He goes head on as well. He has 420s. You should definitely be taking that. I try and pitch back in, and I only get a hit, unfortunately. But I can keep going up because at this altitude, my engine performance will be better than his. And I drop the landing flaps to try and get a shot. However, he's a Spitfire Mark 5. This is really sketch. I try and pull out of the way. He keeps pulling up. And I ram my prop into him and take his wingtip off. However, I'm a twin engine and he's not. And so I'm able to get away with this. If you're wondering what happened later in the game, I am ground pounding. Yes, I still have one engine, and there is a Spitfire on my 6, but that's okay. So I'm rolling around in the Spitfire's guns, making it hard for him to hit me, and he's majorly whiffing, so what can I say other than skillish? Moving on to the last match of the video, we have a 6-kill carry. So I start off by diving down towards all of these targets, just kind of looking for one to pick. The Ac-9 goes vertical, he's going to be way too slow to dodge, he's also not paying attention. And I get a pretty easy shot on him. Now I just reclimb. Get my altitude back. There are a lot of enemies around the place, however I am the highest in the match. So I start heading over towards this Focke-Wulf 190 as he is presenting himself the most, and he is also the highest. Just kind of waiting to dive on him until I get behind him. This is pretty self-explanatory. He's oblivious, not paying attention. Makes for a pretty easy kill. just making sure he goes down, because Focke-Wulfs can return to base without a wing and severe damage. I've had that happen before, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And now I'm just kind of keeping my altitude, looking at the C-205 or the 109. The 109 is going up and is way too slow, and he's also a bit higher than the C-205, so he's my priority target right now. He's way too slow to dodge. I get some pretty decent damage in, but nothing too critical, unfortunately. And I loop back up. The C-205 is now coming for me, and the DO 335 also is on his way over. And so what I want to do is go diagonal to the C-205 to not allow him to get the shot, but I also want him and the DO 335 to group up so I can dodge them both with one maneuver. So the C-205 is way too slow to pitch up for me. The DO 335 is also coming in, and now they're together, so all I have to do is pitch up, and I don't have to worry about the C-205 anymore. Just looping back around. The C-205 tries hanging in there, but he should have dove away. He didn't. So now I'm able to just kind of freely dive on him. The Focke-Wulf crashes in the background. Get a very easy shot on the C-205. And now I'm chasing the DO 335. I will eventually catch him since my climb rate is better than his. And it's only a matter of time. The 109 that I hurt earlier goes down in the background as well. And now the DO 335 realizes I'm catching him, so he tries to turn around. However, at this altitude, he's not going to have the turn rate to go head on with me, so I'm just kind of waiting to make sure. He tries rolling under, but it's such a big target that I don't have much trouble taking the shot. I get his fire, and he instantly jays out. And now I'm going to head towards their airfield, where 2 enemies remain. So fast forwarding a bit, I'm now above their airfield with the Yak-3 and the Yak-9. The Yak-3 dies to the Ki-61 here, and the Yak-9 is going to be focused on the Ki-61. He's not going to be paying attention to me, so that allows me to freely dive down. The Yak-9 goes vertical. He doesn't see me here. He's probably paying attention to the Ki-61 like looking behind him, but that allows me to get a very easy shot and take his wing off, and that is 6. Moving on to the last enemy, which is a BE-6. And I want to be very careful with dealing with this guy, because he is a BE-6. He has 23mm turrets, which are extremely devastating, and they one-shot pretty much any plane. They've one-shot me plenty of times, and I do not want that to happen again. So this kind of also teaches my thought process on how to engage bombers when you're above them. So when you're above them, you don't want to dive when you're like behind and above them. You want to wait until you're completely above them to make you as hard of a target hit as possible, and then make a high-speed pass, and then pull off before you get too close. I do not want to get anywhere near those 23 mils, so I make a wide loop out to the side, and then since the B6 is focused on the F-82, he's not going to be paying attention. The F-82 ends up trading with the BE-6, and I end up getting an assist. Also, I said I'd put UCF Knight in the video. There you go. Hope you're doing alright. And yeah, that about wraps up the game. That is also going to wrap it up for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.